What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Currently, I am on the test server, guys. In today's video, we're gonna have a look at the final faction Unity champion that we're gonna have for the moment, okay? Because from what I understood, they're only planning to do one faction Unity champion per faction, and they just released the last one for the Sylvan Watchers. Now, of course, once we're going to have the new faction unlocked at some point in the future, most likely we're going to get one for that faction too. But I am talking about Bladechorister Caldor. He seems pretty damn interesting, pretty good base stats, attack-based champion, spirit affinity. That might be one of his biggest weaknesses, the affinity. Now, 1663 attack. One thing to keep in mind with this champion, he deals damage based off his max HP and attack with the A3 skill, which might be something really strong for PvE content as well. With A1, he's gonna have an AoE with a chance to land a stun. The stun will increase. We're gonna ignore 20% resistance for each continuous heal buff on the champion, which is pretty good. With the A2, he can select either an enemy, either an ally. Now, if the target is an enemy, decreases the duration of all buffs on all enemies by 1 turn. Places a poison debuff on all enemies for 2 turns, and an additional poison for 2 turns for each continuous heal buffs on the champion. The debuffs cannot be resisted, then instantly activates all poison debuffs on all enemies. If the target is an enemy, increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn, and instantly activates all the continuous heal buffs on all allies. Places a perfect veil buff on the champion for 2 turns, and also places a continuous heal buff on this champion, and another 15% continuous heal buff for each ally alive. So he's gonna get a lot of them. Then finally, fills this champion's turn meter for each buff or debuff placed by this skill by 15%. With the A3, this will be on a 3-turn cooldown fully booked, and you're getting, my god, 35% damage from here. Sorry, I'm bad at math today. Attacks an enemy. Before attacking, has a 100% chance of removing all buffs from the target, and places a defense down and weaken on the target for 2 turns, and will ignore 20% of the target's resistance for each continuous heal. If you have one faction ally, removes all buffs from all enemies if the initial target is killed. You don't need accuracy for it either. With 2 faction allies, will ignore 5% of the target's defense for each poison debuff on them, and each continuous heal buff on this champion. With 3 faction allies, if the initial target is under a poison debuff, also attacks all other enemies. The damage dealt is proportional to the initial target's max HP and how many poison debuffs are on them. If the initial target is a boss or a minion, the damage is not going to be more than 10%. With the passive, will ignore 15% of the target's defense when attacking while under a veil or perfect veil. This champion receives 30% less damage from enemies when not under a veil or perfect veil. With 1 faction ally, each continuous heal buff on the champion increases their crit rate by 20%. 2 faction allies, each time a continuous heal buff activates on this champion, fills their turn meter by 8%. Additionally to the A2 skill. With 3 faction allies, each time a continuous heal buff activates on this champion or an ally, increases the champion's damage by 5%, stacking up to 150. Now, he would be insane in the Hydra, most likely, if we would be able to put poisons on all of the enemies. But not all of the Hydra heads basically receive poison debuffs. Some of them are immune. With the aura, increases ally crit rate in all battles by 25%, and ally speed by 15%, but only for the Sylvan Watchers. Let me just quickly show you the build and what I have on him. I have him build mainly for Arena as well, because I'm trying to use him in there too. One thing that I'm considering to change is basically dropping the Lightning Cage and bringing in the Little Dose. I feel like this could potentially might be better. Increases the damage enemies receive from poison debuffs in Arena and Siege battles. At 5-star is increased by 200%. So let's get this one. Lightning Cage can be good because he's gonna get a lot of buffs. You don't want them to basically be removed, right? And we gotta make sure we are gonna be able to put this perfect veil on the champion. Okay, so I will use a full team, of course, from this faction. I don't have the most OP champions or anything like that, but that's fine. Stone Skin and Savage, these are the total stats. 8.3k attack, which is pretty good. 271 speed, 282 crit damage. Keep in mind, the attack comes from the Blessing, comes from the Relic, Faction Guardians, and of course, having the gear Ascended. Okay, I actually gave him pretty good gear to see exactly what he can do. The reason why I'm testing champions with good builds is because that's how I've always done it like this, and this is kind of like a benchmark in my mind. Okay, so I know if the champion has similar stats with the previous 100 I've tested and he deals trash damage, I know I can compare him with those champions and be like, okay, this damage sucks. If the damage is good, once again, I can compare him with the best ones and be like, okay, he's actually a top damage dealer, right? So if you're trying to build champions, you don't have to achieve the exact same stats. Just tune everything down to your own level. Nobody will do a perfect build to match exactly your stats, no matter who that might be, okay? Because everybody has different gear, etc. But you guys know that already. I don't have to basically say it to you. Now, we finally have a use for this freaking relic. Preserved Aberration. Wearer will ignore 2% of the target's defense for each poison debuff on the target placed by the wearer. I'm not 1000% sure that this is one of the best relics for him, but considering that he's bringing in the poisons, let's give it a go. Now, he does have a very high chance to get polymorph, so hopefully we're not going to have to worry about anything like that. I was just curious if by any chance we have the 6-star soul for him here, and if I could purchase it, but seems like I cannot. First, of course, we're gonna go straight into the dungeon, see the damage, stage 10 hard mode, and I'm gonna try to basically bring in a full team for him, right? So we're gonna bring in Mr. Blade, we're gonna bring in Eilil, and we're going to bring in Elva, right? So like this, hopefully we are spot on. We have Lydia, which is not part of the faction, but like this, we're gonna have pretty much everything set, okay? So, let's buff with Elva. I'm actually just gonna do this to see who gets the perfect veil, okay? It goes on the lead, actually. With Eilil, I'm gonna go A1 right here. Extra turn, A1. Let's put the debuffs. And most likely, I'm gonna try to use this to get the veil, okay? Because we need that veil to make sure we ignore more defense. But either way, I'm going to go on an enemy first. So poisons on everybody. We activated the poisons. Not a lot of funky things happening. So what I do think is that we need to use that skill first on him to basically make the most out of it. Or put him in the lead right here. So I'm curious to see how is this going to work as an enemy max HP skill. Oh my god! 600k damage. 600k damage? What the heck? I know they have very high HP, so that's why the numbers are so high. They won't be as high in Arena, right? But my god, like if you're bringing in a Newt, an Acrisia, they're not gonna do this sort of damage as enemy max HP. This was actually freaking crazy, the damage. Look at that. My god, I was 100% not prepared for this, okay? I was not prepared for that. So let's quickly do a different thing. Let's put him in the lead. We don't need a crit rate. The speed will help us, whatever. So let's get in some buffs. I can go A1 so we get a continuous heal on him as well. That's going to help too. Because we put additional poisons, right? Chill, bro. Chill. Stop getting extra turns. I'm gonna kick you. I'm gonna kick you out of the team. So right now, what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna put that on himself. Look at all of those continuous heals. So we have 1, 2, 3 that came from the skill. I think I'm gonna do another thing, and I'm gonna give him even more continuous heals. So let's do that. Okay, more. Let's do that to get more. Okay, so turn meter. Now, right now, we don't actually have any poisons, okay? We have no poisons whatsoever. So let's see the damage without the poisons. I'm very curious to see that as well. $428. So it almost seems like was a bit better than the initial hit previously, right? Or was around the same amount. Now, because we don't have poisons on the other enemies, we're not going to do basically full AoE. But I'm planning to change that. I'm gonna bring in Kaimar, and I'm gonna bring in somebody else instead of Lydia. I'm gonna bring probably Incensa. So let's get more continuous heals in there. Okay, so right now, we use them all. We gain the Thermeter, but this skill is still on a cooldown, so we cannot use it. So I have to go with the A1. Which brings in really good damage. 200k per hit approximately. With a basic skill. Way, way better than I initially thought. Way better, actually. Because usually, I bring in damage dealers in here, and they barely deal that much damage with their main skill. And this was a basic skill. So that's actually pretty good as well. So, drop Lydia, drop Eilil, Incensa. I really hope you have gear, baby. And Kaimar. Let's bring this Kaimar. Let me just quickly check them, just in case. Because I'm on the test server, so you have gear. And the other Kaimar, I want to make sure he's slower than the damage dealer. So I'm going to probably just change this. And we should be good. So now he's in the lead. I can reset the skills to make sure I'm using the A2 twice. Let's do that once again. So we got the Veil. We got everything. Okay. So right now I'm going to self-buff. Should I self-buff? Or should I use the skill and self-buff after and then attack? Will I be able to get so many freaking turns? Okay, so let's put the poisons. We gain the Thermeter. So we actually have the extra turn. Unfortunately, we lost the Veil. We lost the Veil right now. And we don't have many continuous heals on ourselves. So I'm going to have to basically... If I'm going to go A1 right now, I'm going to deal too much damage, I think. Let's see. Okay, so the damage is much lower now. And that's maybe because we haven't stacked... That's why the damage was so good. I was honestly really shocked by that A1. The damage was so good because we stacked a lot of continuous heals that bumped up the passive. Okay, so that's exactly what happened there. Okay, that makes more freaking sense now. That makes way more sense now. Okay, so we got the Veil. We got everything up and running. I can actually give you more continuous heal buffs from here. Look at that, beautiful. I don't need to self-buff. They have the poison, so let's go back in again with this skill. 655, 831, the highest hit, man. Crazy good damage, guys. Crazy good damage. It does require some setups and stuff to do crazy things like that because you need to put the poisons. But damn, the damage is really impressive. Now, can we actually find a way to use him in arena as well? And what I'm curious to see is in the Hydra clan boss. So I'm quickly going to go in the Hydra clan boss before, guys. I'm still not 100% sure what sort of team I'm going to build around him in here. I can drop Incensa, drop that. Drop Incensa, bring Incensa in. Blade. I can bring in... Should I bring in Elva? To have 4 of them. So I have defense down and weaken. I have Veil. I have everything that I need in there. I need an increased attack. So I could go in with a Mikage. I can go in with a Theox, who's missing gear at the moment. And I'm missing a Provoker, basically, right? And I have 1, 2, 3. No, so I need to drop somebody out of there to bring a good Provoker in. So let's bring in Risk. Put him in the lead to get the speed. And I'm going to drop Theox out. 1, 2, 3. And who else should we bring from this freaking faction, man? So let's just buy faction. Let's bring in just Sylvan Watchers. Arba is an option. I haven't tried the new one yet. Padrake instead of Mikage. Padrake. Hopefully he has gear. We're gonna check that. And now I could bring Theox in. So let me just quickly do a couple of changes, right? This is not from the faction. And I have the damage. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 champions. Let me just quickly check the gear because I tend to move a lot of gear. I haven't used Padrake in a while. You see, I knew it. I knew that he's missing something. So let's give him this one. Okay. Then Theox. I just took the helmet from him. So I can literally give him another one. It doesn't need to be stone skin. Anything that gives me... I only need 6 crit rate. Okay, so I don't need that much crit rate. Whatever. Even if I have an overkill, doesn't matter. Okay. So we should be pretty spot on with this team. Let's see. What can we do with him in the Hydra clan boss? Now, one thing that I won't have much on him will be basically continuous heals, but that's fine as well. We're gonna try to get as many as possible, though. Okay, you do that. Very, very curious to see how he performs in here. Not like Hydra matters that much. Doesn't he give me continuous heals as well? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Okay, so I will have quite a few continuous heals, actually. And they don't need to be placed by himself either. So the more of them will basically proc in here, the better. So defense down and a weaken. Let's put a provoke. So we have the A2. I'm actually going to put it on himself first. So we get more continuous heals and all that stuff. Let's go with an A1 right here to see the AoE attack. No poisons on them, though. Ah, damn, I looked at the one that was the weak hit. What was it, guys? What was it? I looked at the one that was the weak hit. So right now, I can basically go with this skill, but we have no poison. So I'm going to use it anyway, actually. 806k. Now, an enemy max HP hit does not do as much. So if you guys are familiar with the Chimera and the enemy max HP champions, you see that the Chimera has a description saying that the damage is limited to, I don't know, 200k per hit per enemy max HP. But in fact, it goes much higher. I feel like something similar like that is in his coding, okay? Because it definitely allows us to do more damage, right? Which is a very good thing. More continuous heals on you, bro. Like, I can't even feed them on you anymore. That's it. Oh, I'm supposed to do the other skill. What happened there? I literally clicked on the skill, but seems like I moved it too fast. 200k with the A1. And it's going to go higher and higher just because we're stacking that damage. And it's not mentioning it that the damage will reset after he deals damage or anything like that, right? So once we're putting in a lot of continuous heals on him to really stack up the damage to maximum, it's going to be pretty damn interesting. Okay, so right now I'm going to attempt to put poisons. Okay, so we put poisons on 2 Hydra heads. Sorry, not 3. Ooh, but I need to kill that head ASAP. 1, 2. It's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. It's no point to use that skill because he might cleanse. Don't cleanse yet. Ah, damn it. I don't have that skill available. Extra turn. No, Inchensa, if I'm using the A1, it's still not going to be enough, but this might give enough turn meter to Theox, maybe. Ooh, okay, let's go. Don't weak hit. 765k, I think. That was really, really good. Really good damage. Okay, so now that we have the heads, once we're going to have heads decapitated, that's when we're going to really be able to put those poisons up and running. So let's get the veil on. Yes, let's try to kill this head if we can. Okay. Continuous heals. Ah, I don't have that available. A1. The A1 hit for 1 million on the head of mischief without defense down and weaken. Wow. Wow. I'm not going to use the A1 on Theox because we might kill the decapitated heads and we don't want to do that yet. I really want to put those poisons. Let's get a decreased speed up and running. I don't need to put the debuff on. The damage is really, really good. You can see I'm excited, right? You can see I'm excited. So let's do it right here. Poisons on everybody. Beautiful. Let's boost the turn meter so we can actually get a turn. So we still don't have the weaken available and defense down, man. That sucks. Okay. No defense down and weaken, guys. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to use this skill. We have no Veil on either, but we already ignored plenty of defense versus this boss in here anyway. So let's see the damage. 2.3 million. 2.3 million on the head of Blight. Really good, really good. The main reason why it's really good is because it's an enemy max HP skill, okay? So really good damage from that. It's not at the level of Toshiro, at the level of Ninja and all that stuff in terms of damage. But he can definitely do some interesting things. Interesting things. So A1 right now, we're going to get feared, unfortunately. 415k, man. That's really good. 415k on a non-decapitated head. Okay. Damn, everybody's proccing the fear. Everybody's proccing the fear. God damn it. Again, he's gonna get feared. That sucks. I had no other option there, unfortunately. So once you stack that freaking passive with the continuous heals, you're spot on. Spot on. Okay, Teox, you go and take the head down. Because he's being naughty. Take that one too. Take that one too. Take no prisoners. Okay, let's decapitate some of them, man. Let's decapitate some of them. So right now we have this AoE available once again. And no poisons on the enemies, but we have the Veil. I want to see on the Head of Suffering what sort of damage we're going to do there. 2.1 million. So it almost feels like it's a cap as well on that skill, because we've dealt 2.1 on the Blight. Yes, we did have poisons on that. But this one, the Head of Suffering has the highest HP in the game, right? From all of the heads, so... But then he wasn't on full HP, so that might be affected as well. Actually, no, he's not affected on enemy max HP champions, unless his coding is a bit different than the other ones. Which you never know, because you can always get surprised by whatever that might be. 1.4 million, but that's, of course, because of Theox. So if I'm going to... It's no point to self-buff again, right? Because we already did that. We probably stacked a lot of continuous heal buffs. Instead, I'm going to try to put poisons. So we put poisons... I lost the Veil now, though, which kind of sucks. But we have poisons on the rest. A1. We killed that one. No more fear. I'm gonna attack this one, so I... Ah, damn. I'm supposed to go with the A2 because we're gonna kill the other one there. Continuous heals once again. We got the Veil. We got the moves. Is he gonna take a turn before us, though? We put a decreased speed. Okay, so I'm gonna attack somebody that doesn't have poisons, because he's going to attack everybody else with poisons. Okay, so we have 2 Hydra heads with poisons. Let's go versus this one. 3 million? Damn! But it did not attack the other ones that had poisons. Maybe I remember something wrong, but I thought that the A3 attacks everybody else that has poisons. Correct? Or maybe it dealt some damage and I haven't noticed. Okay, so damage-wise, he can definitely put in some work, guys. I don't think he's a top 5 damage dealer for the Hydra clan boss. Don't get me wrong. I do think he's pretty interesting in terms of what he can do as a faction unity champion. I wouldn't necessarily replace him in any of my Hydra teams, just to be straight to the point. But the damage is definitely not bad. What do we have? So we have Caldor 36 million, Theox 19. Of course, Caldor has the A1 AoE. Theox is definitely helping him quite a bit. Now, if we are going to go over to the arena, can we do anything in there with him? So let's refresh the list. I'm not even sure what teams to attack, guys, to be honest. But let's give it a go. So recently used first, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Even a Inchensa could work nice instead of Arba may... Nah, instead of Elva. But then I'll need to self-buff 1000% to get a Veil on. So I feel like this should be the best combination, though. Let's see. Let's see. Because this could potentially be nice for Siege. Now, I don't have Nice, unfortunately, and I don't have the other mythical champion that puts the poisons. Nelly, whatever her name is, you know. So the Veil will go, of course, on the leading here. I'm gonna try to basically put him to sleep. So right now, I can just attack without having anything stacked to get an idea of what sort of damage we deal. And I could potentially go versus the Reviver, right? So let's see. 284k, no need for poisons and Veil and all that funky stuff, right? So that is definitely pretty good. Let's see if we can put a lock skills on them. No, we lost one. If I revive right now, that Marius is gonna clap me though. Yeah. Ooh, but he survived because we had no Veil, right? So that's good. Do I want to kill with Eilil? Probably not. Stop taking extra turns, bro. Jesus. So we have Veil and continuous heal right now. And we can go versus the enemy, put the poisons, decrease the duration of poisons, which deals trash damage. So the blessing that I got on him is completely irrelevant because it really doesn't do shite. Pardon my French, okay? It really doesn't do nothing. And now, remove buffs, 409k, bang, we put him to sleep, defense down, and weaken. Righty, alrighty. Let's see if we can find a better team. Yeah, something like this one. Something like this one. Now, I want to... Gotta be prepared for that... that Narcissus. Go down. I need to take you down now, baby. Okay, so I don't necessarily need to take you down. Let's... She cleansed already, right? She did. So poisons on everybody. We got polymorphed. That's one of the problems. Keep that in mind. As expected. Let's put a continuous heal just in case if that Narcissus is about to clap us. Eilil is gonna die, that's for sure, because he has the shield. I don't think this is gonna do much, but you know what? Damn, how did Eilil survive? The second hit was not critical. Interesting. So he's still polymorphed. Probably is gonna be here for a while. It's gonna be a ship. I'm not... This thing is not making me feel too good about it, right? She's gonna... Okay, I was gonna say, do not revive Ancora because you're gonna wipe me. Okay, decrease speed. Get all them debuffs on you. Ooh, she survived. Eilil, what are you doing? Okay, we're not a ship anymore, but I feel like that Narcissus is just gonna kill him, right? Actually, we might have a shot here at doing something. Oh, who has the temporal change? Sifi. I was gonna... And Arbiter. It almost gives me the feeling that it stacks, even though it should not stack. But hey, one down. No, we haven't took her down because we were not able to put the defense down and weaken, but still was decent damage. Considering that we landed no poisons and we haven't really activated that many continuous heals. Okay, let's see. I think it's really hard to use him in here, though. I got super excited for his damage, but I think it's really hard to use him in here. Okay, the poisons finally did something. And you're gonna die now. You don't really have a chance. What if we're finding something even better? Ooh, something with Harima. Yumeko. Yumeko is gonna lock him. Man. Do we have something without lockouts? And tanky? This is gonna be nasty because the Queen of Hearts is in there. Oh. Oh. That Siegfried is gonna clap me here, isn't he? I think so. I think so. Let's see. I'm not gonna buff with increased attack. I'm just gonna bait Siegfried in here. I'm hoping to. Ah. Who are we taking down? Can we take her down? Nope. Not enough damage. Extra turn. Okay. Even if he dies, it's fine. Let him die. Oh, damn. You got polymorphed as well. What's happening? This is still gonna proc his passive, though. Oh, man. He's still gonna proc the passive, huh? And he has Lightning Cage. Yeah. You see, it didn't even work, and it proc the passive. Siegfried's supposed to open with a 8-3. I was not aware of his trashy presets, so we can come back into the fight right now. I really thought that Siegfried was going to open with the 8-3, but seems like he opened with the 8-2, so we can actually boost our turn meter and kill Marichka like this. And get an increased attack, right? Get that. Oh my god, she still survived, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Damn, he had enough damage to wipe me off, even though I stole all of his buffs. I stole all of his buffs intentionally. Okay, we cannot beat that team with what we have in our squad. Let's see if we can find something else. This seems pretty tanky. Okay, we have a UDK in there as well, and we are gonna be strong affinity to him. Whoa! Holy moly of stone skin! Holy moly of stone skin! Okay. Yes, baby. Give me that stone skin. Give me them buffs now. Give me that continuous revive on that. No, we haven't even got it. That Narcissus. Okay, we lock the skills. Let's revive him. Unfortunately, he lost the veil. He lost the veil. He had no continuous heals activating. Let's give him some. He got the veil back. UDK down. Poisons on pretty much nobody. Let's see Duchess, bro. Let's see Duchess. Damn! 336k. We stripped all of the buffs from the rest. That was really good damage. Really good damage on that Duchess. I feel like it's super hard to set him up for a regular arena team, but if you can make it work somehow, you can definitely get a lot of work done. And we want to make sure she's not cleansing that Ancora. A1. Let's see A1. No increased attack. Damn. Pretty good. Pretty good. Without the increased attack. So, 312k damage from Caldor. I think he's a solid champion. For PvP, in my opinion, with the champions that I have, unless I'm really missing something, I think it's pretty hard to set him up, okay? I think it's pretty hard to set him up. The thing is, he needs to put the poisons, right? So he needs to put the poisons, not somebody else. So even if you would have Nell in the team with him, or actually, he doesn't need to put the poisons, does he? Yeah, he doesn't need to put the poisons, okay? So then you could go with the A3 and just wipe them and strip all of their buffs. But poison doesn't go on stone skin, right? So that's a problem. Either way, that is Bladechorister Caldor, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about the champion? His damage is definitely there. Really good. As I've mentioned, I think he's hard to set up and all the stuff. But either way, appreciate all of you guys watching. Much love, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.